Hi you guys, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for actually stopping by and actually taking time in your day to watch this video. I really appreciate it. And so the people that are always watching and commenting on my videos, I really appreciate it. Again, I don't know how many times I've said I really appreciate it, but that is because I'm grateful. I'm grateful for everything, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you. And you are the people that keep me motivated to keep producing this content. And today I wanted to come in here and talk purely hair. And a disclaimer, you guys, yesterday, which is, as I'm filming this day, which is Thursday, yesterday, which was Wednesday, I actually had a procedure done on my teeth because they had been giving me a problem for a very long time. So when they did an x-ray, when they checked, they found that two of my wisdom tooth are the ones that are giving me problems. So I was like, you know what, take them out, so they took them out. So I'm saying this because you might find that as I'm talking, I'm not articulating some words very well, or I'm not speaking properly, and that is because I have not healed properly this side. You guys, I still have issues with this side. So what we're going to be talking about today is shedding and breakage, and this is prompted by the post that I did for the Hair Tip Tuesday, and we're talking about shedding and breakage, and I felt like I need to take it further in a YouTube video where I explain it and go deeper with it, because on a post that does not clearly explain everything. So I feel like a video will be able to give it more oomph, will be able to give it more life, structure, and content for you to be able to conceptualize it and apply it to yourself. Okay, so I want us to talk about shedding and talk about breakage, understand how it happens, and understand that it is a normal part of our hair, because I've realized that in this natural hair space, and also as people, especially as Black people, there are too many things about us. When we look at ourselves, we look at them as problems instead of looking at them as just part of ourselves and a certain part of our lives. So shedding and breakage is part of our hair, but in this space, it's not normalized, and it's something that is frowned upon, something that should be avoided. But the sad reality is that the more we try and avoid it, the more it is still happening, and then we get frustrated with ourselves and our hair. So if you want to understand shedding and breakage in terms of the scientific side of things, or basically how hair acts, then stick around and watch this video. But if this is not your jam, this is not what you want, you do not care about shedding and breakage, you are fine, you just cool, then kudos to you. Tap out on this video, because then this is not the video for you. So I want to talk to people that want to understand this, that want to go to the scientific side of things, instead of us generalizing things and just putting a blanket statement on things. I want to explain two terms that you need to familiarize yourself with, because they will enable you to conceptualize the content that we are going to be going through on this video. The first one is hair follicle. Is what you find on the base of your scalp. Underneath your scalp, that is where you find hair follicles. Now, hair follicles are generated through cells. Now, the cells have to be active, and that means that the blood, there has to be a blood supply feeding into the cells, allowing the cells to be active, to multiply, reproduce, creating a follicle, which then anchors the hair and allows one strand of hair to grow out of your scalp. So that is a hair follicle. It gives structure to your hair. It anchors your hair on the scalp. So as the cells are reproducing, they're feeding into this hair follicle, allowing it to become one strand of hair that grows out of your scalp. Okay, then when it comes to hair shaft, it is basically your strand of hair, the strand. So let's say that this is my scalp, this is what is happening. Then here, it would be my hair shaft, basically the hair that is growing outside of my scalp. So this, we consider it a hair shaft. The hair that you see outside when you're looking at your hair, that is a hair shaft. Okay, so now that we understand those two terms, we're going to get into the hair growth cycle. Now, the hair growth cycle has three phases. The first one is anagen phase, second one is catagen phase, and the last one is telogen phase. Now, to basically understand this, because these are scientific terms, we going to simplify it, and because there is a simple way of understanding it. Now, the catagen phase is the first phase, and in simple term, it is the growth phase. Now, as I explained the part, as I was explaining the follicle part, in the growth phase, that is basically when your hair is growing, but we are talking about the things that are happening on your scalp. So what happens is, you find that you have cells on your scalp, and these cells are fed by the blood vessel. There is blood flow on those cells. Now, because of the blood supply on those cells, it allows them to multiply, to reproduce, and then as they reproduce, they create one follicle and one strand of hair. Then that hair grows out. So that is the process that happens. That is the growth phase. Now, the growth phase lasts from a period of 2 to 7 years, and yeah, it lasts for a period of 2 to 7 years. That is when we can say your hair is growing. And normally after 7 years, some people, it can take longer, because I don't want us to put a cap on it, but generally when they look at these things in the scientific side, they'll say that after 7 years, hair stops growing, and when it stops growing, it then detaches, and which brings me to the second stage, which is the catagen phase. Now, catagen phase in simple terms is called the transitional phase. Transitional phase is what I have explained before, that now, because your hair has reached that point where it is no longer growing, and the reason why it has reached the stage where it is no longer growing is because that hair follicle is no longer attached to the blood vessel, meaning that the cells are no longer producing anything that feeds into that existing follicle, allowing your hair to grow, meaning that it has become dormant. And because it has become dormant, it has to go. And that is what we call the last phase, which is the telogen phase, the resting phase. Now, that is when that hair that has become dormant, it is being pushed out, because now this blood supply is feeding the cells, and these cells are no longer producing any hair that is feeding to the existing hair, meaning that existing hair has to go. I hope you guys understand me. That means that existing hair has to go, but it does not mean that as this existing hair is going, that means that you no longer have cells that are reproducing for new hair. As it is going, the cells are busy working, and they're forming a new follicle, which then pushes this existing one that has become dormant outside of your scalp. So that is where we say that hair is shedding. I hope that makes sense. I feel like I was in the zone of myself as I was explaining that, but it just shows how passionate I am when it comes to hair, you guys. So as I said, that dormant hair, it has to come out, and as it is coming out during the resting phase, we call that shedding. Normally you will see that hair is shedding, because when it comes out, it will come with a small white bulb. And that small white bulb is a tissue of cells that have become dormant, and they're no longer required on your scalp, and they have to go, because your cells have reproduced and created a new hair follicles, which will give structure to your new hair. So that is the resting phase, and the resting phase can take up to 3 months and more, depending on your genes, and depending on the diet, depending on your lifestyle, depending on the things that you do to your hair. Basically, depending on how you take care of your hair. But normally it can last up to 3 months. Now, what I've realized is that there are some people where the resting phase take longer, where as they are losing hair, it takes a very long time to grow out of their scalp. But because the average rate of hair growth is 2 to 7 years, that means that in that period of 2 to 7 years, your hair is growing, but then at the same time, you lose 50 to 100 hairs a day. Normally, you will not see where that hair has come out. Sometimes you find that I can see that, okay, there are white things attached to my hair, but I can't tell where they came from. That is because as it is coming out, it is being pushed out by new hair. But then there are some people where as it is coming out, it is not pushed by any hair. And also when you are over manipulating your hair, you find that you are shortening your growth cycle, meaning that as you are shortening your growth cycle, your hair is shedding more, and as it's shedding more, it is taking long, your resting cycles take longer. Another thing that you also have to consider when it comes to the growth cycle is that our growth cycle is not the same on our entire head, né? Because your hairline has a shorter growth cycle compared to your crown. The crown has the longest growth cycle, and then the neckline also has a shorter growth cycle. What is the ideal situation that we have to look for? What we want to do is prolong the growth cycle as long as possible. So we want to minimize the shedding. So how do you do that? You can do that by actually avoiding over manipulating your hair, over detangling your hair, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, and also not detangling your hair when it is too wet or too dry. So you want to make sure that you are not doing things that will strain your hair too much, that it will shorten your growth cycle. I just want to say this: when your hair is still attached to your blood vessel, it will not shed. But when you over manipulate your hair, when you do things to your hair, especially these parts, because they are fragile, you will shorten its growth. You put it in a position where it has to detach from the blood vessel, meaning that it will shed. Okay, so what you want to do is avoid over manipulating your hair, avoid doing things that will shorten that period. But thing is, your hair naturally will shed, and it is a normal process of our hair. You cannot avoid your hair from shedding because it just has to happen. So what are the things that you have to pay attention to when it comes to your hair shedding? You need to first look at the rate of your shedding. As I said, on a daily basis, we lose 50 to 100 hairs a day. But then if you start noticing that, okay, this is way too much in a day, no, don't look at in a week and say, oh my God, I think I've lost so much hair in a week. But you look at one day and you say, oh my God, this is too much. And maybe that's where you can be concerned. But if you have been wearing a protective hairstyle like me, and when I take it out, I cannot expect that I'm going to lose 100 hairs in the day. It is going to be more. That is because your hair has been shedding. It's just that it was not coming out because it's in the protective hairstyle. And I see this also with my hair. You find that I see white bulbs here, but I'm not gonna see that shedding because it is on a protective hairstyle. But the moment I take out that protective hairstyle, all of that hair that has become dormant, that is out of my scalp, I will start seeing it and it will shed. And that is the thing that I would see on the floor. And that is basically my hair shedding. And that is also normal. Okay, then what you also have to pay attention to also is that when you realize that the resting phase are taking longer, where you are losing more hair than what is growing, and you start noticing patches, which we call that acute alopecia, then that's where you have to be concerned. Where you start realizing that you have lost all of your hairline and it is not growing back, you have to be concerned. You need to consult a specialist, and that will be a dermatologist, because it becomes a health problem once it is on that stage. You can't be having patches of no hair on your head and you sit around and you say it is going to grow back. There are some salons that are very unethical, such that a person will come in there, they have patches and patches on their head, and they want to do their hair, and they will still continue to do their hair. You find that that person maybe is relaxing their hair, they will still continue and put relaxer on that person's hair. They will do over manipulative hairstyle on that person when they see that person has patches and patches on their head. Instead of saying, can you please go see a dermatologist? Instead, they want to make money and they will do that and they don't care. And that is very unethical, you guys. If you own a salon and you watch my videos, if a person comes to your salon and they have patches of no hair on their head, you cannot put chemicals on that person. You cannot continue to braid that person. The least you can do for that person is basically just to do a moisture treatment. Just wash their hair and moisturize it, and just advise them to go see a dermatologist and tell them that they shouldn't be doing anything on their hair until they've seen a dermatologist and until the hair starts growing back. If it means that they have to cut all of their hair out, if they are comfortable with that, but they need to do that after they've seen a dermatologist. So please, if you own a salon and you watch my videos, please be ethical. Don't do the thing where money matters to you more than people. Then when it comes to breakage, as I explained in the beginning regarding hair follicle and hair shaft, when it comes to breakage, that is when your hair is breaking along your hair shaft. Now this is also very normal, you guys. And why do I say it is normal? It is normal because 4 type hair, unlike any other hair, is very fragile, and it is fragile because of its texture and its structure. Now 4 type hair has kinks, coils, and too many bonds on it, and because of that, that means that the nutrients that we have on our body and the sebum can't travel easily on the entire strand because of these coils, the kinks, and the bonds. So that leaves our hair fragile. That means that our hair is prone to dryness, and because it is prone to dryness, it is prone to breakage. And that is the weakness of 4 type hair. Now if you see your hair breaking, don't be stressed and be alarmed and say, oh my god, my hair shouldn't be breaking. Basically you're saying your hair shouldn't be having kinks and coils and bonds. Because if it's breaking, it's evidence that your hair has those things, and because of those things, it has that weakness of breaking easily. So what we then do is we do your protein treatment, your moisture treatment, we do your moisture routine, we wash our hair, we develop a good regimen to try and give our hair strength a fighting chance, to try and make our hair strong, to give it that thing that it doesn't get naturally from our bodies. So that is why we do the things that we do on our hair. Not because when we do treatments on our hair, we moisturize our hair, it is now the ultimate solution towards shedding and breakage. Those are the things that you cannot avoid so long as you have 4 type hair. Things that you literally cannot avoid. The sooner that you embrace this about your hair, you understand this about your hair, the sooner that you will actually start loving your hair and understanding that certain things about my hair I cannot avoid. What happens is, if let's say for instance you are not moisturizing your hair, you don't have a good regimen, you don't do your treatments, you find that the scale is tipped like this, where you are losing more hair than what is growing. So your growth cycle is very short, and your hair shedding, which is your second phase, the transitional phase, and also the resting phase, they are higher. So this is a person that has unhealthy hair, and this is a person that is actually not seeing the growth in their hair. So what we do is, when we are doing our treatments on our hair, we are developing a good regimen, we are moisturizing our hair, we are consistently washing our hair, hydrating our hair. What we are doing is we are trying to tip the scales, whereby we are growing more hair than what we are losing. So you want to get to a stage whereby your growth rate is higher and the shedding, the breakage is minimal. But you still cannot avoid it. It'll still be there. But what you want to do is you want to grow more hair than what you are losing. And this is a person that we can say is having healthy hair. I'm saying that we consider that person as a person that has healthy hair because your hair is strong enough to withstand the fact that it is prone to breakage, it is prone to shedding. But you are saying that now I'm giving you a fighting chance, my hair. I'm going to feed you. I'm going to give you the necessary nutrients that will allow you to actually grow more than what I'm going to be losing. But you are doing this with an understanding that I cannot avoid shedding. I cannot avoid breakage, but what I can do is minimize it. So if there's anything that you have to take on this video, please take that. Take that, because that is very important on your natural hair journey. Because if anyone comes to you and say you shouldn't be having breakage on your hair, you shouldn't be having shedding hair, that person is selling you dreams that you will never attain. So you need to understand that shedding and breakage are natural parts of my hair. Shedding happens to everyone. Breakage happens to everyone. But it's worse for me because I have 4-type hair. 4-type hair has kinks and coils and too many bondages. And where those bonds are meeting, that is the weakest point of my hair. Meaning that if I do not moisturize my hair, I do not wash my hair, I do not hydrate my hair, I do not do protein treatment, I don't do moisture treatments, my hair becomes even more weaker, meaning that it is more prone to breakage, and I'm going to see that breakage. Even if your hair is not stretched out, even if your hair has no chemicals, it is in its natural state, I still experience shedding. I still experience breakage because it is just the normal part of my hair, and I've learned to embrace this about my hair, and it has given me so much peace in my natural hair journey. Because whenever I hear someone saying your hair shouldn't be breaking, I'm like, thank you, sister, bye. Because I know that what you're saying right now, you are saying it in your own head, but you are not applying the scientific side of our hair. So basically, you are selling me dreams, and that is why we have so many people in the natural hair environment that are trying to grow their hair, becoming frustrated with their hair because they are looking at all these things that we have said they are not normal, and they become frustrated because they keep trying to buy products. They keep trying different things. For some reason, they're still experiencing shedding. They're still experiencing breakage. So as I said, the most important thing, what we are doing is you are trying to minimize it. You are not trying to stop it, because you will never stop it. So with all the things that you do on your regimen, you are tipping the scales. And that is all that you are doing. And I wanted to do this video because I wanted to stress that to the people that are watching my videos. I know that you are in your natural hair journey. I want you to understand that these things are normal part of your hair. Thank you so much for watching this video up until the end. To everyone that has subscribed to my channel, as I said in the beginning, thank you so much. I really appreciate you for always engaging with my videos, for liking my videos, and talking to me in the comment section. I appreciate all of that, and I am grateful for each and every one of you. And if you are new here, you have watched this video up until the end, kudos to you. Welcome. You might as well just press the subscribe button and the notification bell and become part of the family, because why else would you watch this video until the end and not subscribe? Like, why? Anyway, thank you so much. Until I see you in the next video, thank you. Bye.